The next one's asking which equation of the line passes through both points. But when you have a bunch of answers that are all y equals, you could actually plug it into the calculator. Because there's a nice table button right here. It'll give you y equals. And then we're just going to type in the right side. So we're going to do our negative, and then our fraction 1/3. And then the x is right here next to 4. Then minus another fraction, 5/3. Okay, so we have a. Now we're going to keep hitting enter till you get to a table. And then we want to check this. Now, it does go through -5, 0, so it passes through this point. But then let's check if it passes through 4, 3. Let's go down to the positives. But no good, because we get 4, -3. So unfortunately, it's not A there. Okay, let's type in B. But we don't actually have to do the whole thing. We just want to remove the negative there, so hit delete. And then move over and change the minus to a plus. And then we have the exact same thing as this. Okay, so let's hit enter. But this time when we look at 4, 3, sneak down a little, there it is, matches perfectly. Then you can go up to get to -5. And that one matches. It goes through both points. It's definitely B there. For this one, we're finding the median number of wins for the Bucks over the last 7 years, the Giannis effect. And in order to find the median, you'll always want to line up your numbers from smallest to biggest. And we want to find the one that's right in the middle. So just go ahead and cross off the smallest, the biggest, the next smallest, next biggest. Keep working your way right into the middle. If there's only one number, that is the median, so 46 there. That'll always happen when there's an odd number of things. There's just going to be one number in the middle. But let's say you just had 4 numbers. To find the median, you would then find the 2 in the middle, add these together, divide by 2, and that'll give you the median there. So those are the 2 situations that happen. The next one's a no calculator one. So when you're multiplying with decimals, you could just start on the bottom right. And we'll do 5 times 3, 15, carry the 1. Then keep going, 5 times 2, 10, plus 1, 11. And then 5 times 4, 20, plus 1, 21. When you move to the second number, just go ahead and put a 0 right here. And then you could go 3 times 3, 9. 3 times 2, keep going, 6. 3 times 4, 12. And then we're going to add these together. Start on the right, 5. That'll give us 10, carry the 1. 1, 1, and 6, 8. 2 and 2, 4. And drop down the 1. Then we're going to deal with the decimal. Just count how many you have in the original problem. There's 3 decimal places here, 1 here, for a total of 4. Slide in 4 places, boom. So, same thing as B there. When you have back-to-back parentheses, this one's a FOIL problem. And you'll always start by multiplying the first thing here times the first thing here. 2x times x, the same letter times the same letter becomes squared. Then you're going to multiply the outsides, 2x times 4. But then you're just going to do 2 times 4, 8, and keep the x. It's positive, so plus 8x. Now we're going to do the inner ones. We'll multiply. This is actually a -5. When you have a minus sign in front of a number, just think of it as a negative. -5 times x minus 5x. And then -5 times 4. That'll give us -20. Then you're always going to combine your 2 middle terms. So we've got 8 minus 5. That'll give us 3x in the middle. Drop down the first thing, drop down the last thing. That is our final. So D there. In this one, they've given us an equation where T represents the total cost of a pizza, N represents the number of toppings. So let's highlight that equation. How many toppings did a customer order if the total cost was $24.50? Now we're trying to find the number of toppings that we should plug in for N right there. However, they've given us the answers. So let's just go ahead and plug in 5 for N. See if all of that combines to $24.50. Okay, let's do it. We got $16.75, so that would just be a plain old cheese pizza, plus our $1.55 per topping. We're going to get 5 of them multiplied by 5. And we get $24.50 right off the bat. So that was nice that it was the first one, but if not, we would have just kept moving on and then found the right one that way. For this problem, we're interested in finding the area for a circle. So the first thing we could do is grab the formula for that from the formula sheet. Now, it's going to require us to know the radius, but no worries. We're interested in tower 3, but over here, they've given us the radius. So we're just going to plug that in for r, and that'll give us the total area. Okay, let's go ahead and do pi, and then times our radius, 0.8. But that one's to the power 2 or squared, so just use that x squared button. Okay, enter, 2.01. So that is the area of cell phone coverage. Here they've given us an equation of a line, and we want to match it with the correct graph. Now you'll always start with the thing at the end, because this is called the y-intercept. It's where you cross the y-axis perfectly. And this one crosses right at -2, so it could be A right away. But if we look at B, this one crosses at +2, so that would have a +2 on the outside, so that one's out. Now C, that one's at -2, that's good. And then D, +2 again, so that's no good. Then you'll deal with the 1/3. Now that's the slope. It's how you get from one point on a graph to another point that hits at a bullseye, just like this one. So to do that, we would have to go up 1 over 1, 2, 3, and then we'd get to that point. And that is the slope, up 1 over 3, or 1/3. For C, to get to this point, we'd have to go up 1, 2, 3, and then over to the right one to hit that point perfectly. So that would be a slope of 3 over 1. So as we could see, A's got the right stuff, so that's it there. An online order comes in a box with a volume of this. If the box has these dimensions here, then how tall is it? Now because we're talking about a volume, a box is the same thing as a rectangular prism. We looked up the volume, and there it is. Now we want to find a way to multiply these 3 things to get back to 5439. But they're wondering how tall it is, so h, but they're giving us the options. So let's just try 11.5 for h. Let's see if that does the trick. So we'll do the length, 24, times the width, 18.5, times the height, 11.5. Okay, multiplying those, volume 5106, but unfortunately not what we're looking for, so no worries. Let's go ahead and run it back. Let's try 24 times 18.5 times 12.25, we'll try B. 5439, that actually gave us what we were looking for, so that has to be the correct height there. Now what if it's not a multiple choice? Well, no worries, you could just plug in what you already know underneath each thing. And then we want to solve for h here. To do that, let's multiply these 2 numbers together. Those will give us 444. Now, h is being multiplied by 444. We want to do the opposite, so let's divide by that, because that'll get these to cancel. And then the height is just going to be that divided by that. And drum roll, it's going to become 12.25. So that's another way to get that answer if it's not a multiple choice. Which numbers can you add to keep this table a function? Now, you could always think of a function as a vending machine. X is the number that you press. Y is what comes out of the vending machine. But they've told us don't repeat an ordered pair. In other words, don't reuse a button. So which button have we not assigned a value to yet? Well, out of the options given, 3 is the only fresh one, so let's put that there. And actually, once you put that one there, you can put any of the other numbers here. You could put 4 or 5. Any of the other ones are going to be correct. So that's all they're looking for. Just reassign a new number and a new item that it corresponds to. And then you've got a function there. This one's going to be an inequality when you have these symbols here. Now we're starting a savings account, and we deposit $400 a week into it. But let's jump ahead a little bit, because we're going to do that for 5 weeks. In other words, what are we going to do with these two values? We're just going to multiply those, right, to find out how much we have. So C does that, and D does that. But A and B, those are jacked up, because that would basically multiply 400 times 5%. But that's not what we're doing, so let's get rid of A and B here. From here, we want to have at least 2,075 in our account. So which of these symbols is going to be the correct one at the end of the problem? Well, let's look at these. Notice the top one, this one kind of looks like an L. So that one means less than. And that's the same as this symbol. That would mean we earn less than 2,075 in our account, but we want to have at least that or more. So the one we want is actually the G. That one you could turn into a G. That means greater than, and that's the thing we're looking for. That'll ensure we have at least that amount or greater than that amount in our account. So final answer, C there. And one last one here. When you're solving an equation and you have a number in front of parentheses, just multiply it times the stuff on the inside. So we'll get 4 times x, 4x, 4 times 3 plus 12. Same thing on the other side, 3 times 5, and then 3 times negative x. That'll get 15 minus 3x there. So we distributed, but when you have x's on both sides of the equal sign, I always like to get them to the left. In other words, how do we make this thing disappear? Well, we could add 3x and then do that to the other side. That'll get them to cancel on the right side, and that's what we want here. So then the left side becomes 7x plus 12 equals 15 now. From here, we want to get x by itself, but it has this plus 12. To get rid of that, you could always do the opposite and minus 12. Then these will cancel, and then 15 minus 12, 3 on the right side, drop the 7x down. And finally, x is multiplied by 7. We're going to do the opposite, divide by 7. Because then these will cancel, and x is just going to equal 3 divided by 7, or just leave it as a fraction, 3 over 7. So I hope this gives you some good confidence going into the test of what to expect. Let me know what questions you run into. We'll see you in the next video. Toodles.